Oh boy, that doesn't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think maybe time. We did. Greetings, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you are here. Today, we are going to be playing another budget deck, as is our custom on Saturdays. And today's is Lifegain. In the interest of full disclosure, I think this deck, if you're building this deck in the budget version, you will want to do so with the intent of upgrading. There are plenty of very, very powerful magic cards that you will want to get your hands on to upgrade this deck, because I do think it is worse than the deck that has all of the upgraded versions, right? But I do think a lot of the cards that we are substituting are at least relatively competitive, and you have a very, very clear upgrade path with this deck, which isn't always the case with some of our budget decks. Like, we've done the Gates deck, and there's just not a lot of Gates payoffs, so the upgrade path a little murky. You know, maybe it doesn't even get better, right? We did the the treasure hunt combo deck and stuff, and well, yeah, I mean, maybe you could get better art for your islands or something, you know, so not a very clear upgrade path. If you are looking to upgrade your deck over time, and, you know, maybe you just enjoy the Lifegain mechanic, darn it, here we go. This version of this deck has actual 0 rares in the main. 0. Any number of rares in the main could easily aid you, but for now, this will get the job done. The backbones of the deck. You cannot build this deck without these specific cards, and I will show them to you right now. You need to have your Soul Wardens. This arguably maybe the best card in the deck. It is common, so easy to get your hands on, but you will need them. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life, right? This version of the deck also, either version of the deck, you need Ajani's Pridemate. It's an uncommon. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Ajani's Pridemate. It counts the number of times you gained life. So, if you gain 100 life, that's 1 instance of life gain. It gets 1 counter. If you gain 1 life 100 times, it's going to get 100 +1/+1 counters on it, right? So very, very powerful in this deck, considering we have a bunch of ways of just gaining 1 life at a time. It will put a ton of counters on this thing. It'll be a 12/12 before you know it, and swinging in, right? For this version of the deck, we're a little more aggressive, have a lot of 1-drops, so Leonin Vanguard is very, very good. Being able to combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures, Leonin Vanguard gets +1/+1, and you gain a life. So this does give us a really, really cool aggressive plan where we go 1-drop on turn 1, and then on turn 2 we play another land and go 1-drop 1-drop. So now we have 3 creatures on the battlefield. We can be attacking with Leonin Vanguards as early as turn 2 as 2/2s, as well as gaining a little bit of life very, very quickly. Of course, Selfless Savior, you've seen, gives indestructible to another target creature. You know, if you sacrifice it, Alseid a Life's Bounty can give protection from, while still also being lifelink. And then, of course, Healer's Talk, 1/1 lifelink flying, very strong card. These other cards are Impassioned Orator. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield or dies, you gain a life. The problem is this one is legendary, folks. The Daxos is. So you can only have just so many of those. That's why we have a 3-2 split. You'll notice our land count pretty low here. Only 19 lands, because we do have 4 Skyclave Cleric. This card is in general not great. Because it's a 2-mana 1/3. When it enters, you gain 2 life, so it's not terrible. But the more important thing is this, since we don't have a lot of very expensive cards, we have almost all 2 or 1 and 2 drops, and then just a couple of 3s and a couple of 4s. Flooding out is going to lose us a lot of games. So this gives us options other than flooding, and is still cohesive. It does also block, you know, so mono red matchups, things like that, right? The only other thing we've got to do in this version, folks, is Angel of Vitalities and Gideon's Companies. These are uncommon payoffs, similar to our Ajani's Pridemates, that give us a reason to gain so much life. If we just play a bunch of 1/1s and can't ever win the game, it doesn't matter if we've got 100 life, our opponent's going to take all of it eventually, right? So this will become a 4/4 flying for 3, and also makes our life gain even better in, you know, more aggressive matchups where the life matters. And then this is just a souped up version of Ajani's Pridemate. Whenever you gain life, put 2 1/1 counters on Gideon's company. So this thing will become even faster. Yes, technically you can put loyalty counters on Gideon Planeswalkers, but we don't have any, so it doesn't matter. That said, we also do have a sideboard full of goodies. These are all the rares and mythics that you might consider upgrading at a later time. So that said, there aren't any of these in the main. We're going to go and play some games, and then I will come back and discuss these options after the games. All right, folks. Well, we're doing a lot of life gain. That's what we want to do. We don't have any payoffs, really. This Angel of Vitality does technically count, so I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, so to speak, but we would really like to see an Ajani's Pridemate or even a Gideon's company or whatever. Oh, no. Don't Thoughtseize. Don't! All right. So now we are doing Stone Nothing. Yep. All right. Well, that's really unfortunate. We are going to attack for a relatively significant amount next turn. And our opponent did Shock and Thoughtseize. Oh, no, they're on Sultai. Oh, shoot, folks. Sultai actually gains life better than we do. Oh, boy. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. 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 All right. Well, damage is dealt. Opponent drops to 11. Ajani's Pridemate is now 4/4. Still dies to Fatal Push, unfortunately, but does not die to some of their other shenanigans. Okay, Uro coming on down. Gonna add some land to the board, gain a bunch of life back. Sure. Fabled Passage is a land drop. Doesn't crack it, though. At least not yet. Oh, boy. Okay. That's a good one. All right, folks. That's a good one. We are going to hold on to our land since we don't... The highest mana cost thing we have in our deck is a 4-mana card, so we're not really giving up on anything, and it is at least a... Okay. You know, the bluff is worth something, right? All right, so the opponent could have a number of different board wipes here. Languish doesn't do it, fortunately, but Ritual of Soot does. So does Extinction Event to a certain extent, but only... Well, no, I guess Extinction Event wouldn't, because I was going to say they can name odd, but the Ajani's Pridemate not going to do it. Oh, boy, that doesn't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we beat Sultai. We did. Well, I'm not going to lie. We did get a little lucky there. One of the problems with the budget version of this deck is we don't have as many payoffs. So when they stripped our payoff out of our hand here, we're in really rough shape. If we had continued drawing enablers like Soul Wardens or, you know, Alseid of Life's Bounties, things like that, then we would have lost. But the fact that we drew some more payoff, it paid off. I'm sorry. Please don't leave. All right, folks, let's hang on to this. Ooh, the opponent's on mono red. Traditionally speaking, this is a pretty good matchup for us, all things considered. We're going to start on Leonin Vanguard, see what happens. Our opponent very, very likely to get rid of this card immediately. Most Lifegain decks really don't like seeing Leonin Vanguard at all. We are, of course, not going to just throw its life away. Opponent lights up the stage, gets Pyromancer, drops a Ramanop Ruins, and drops the Shock Pillar of Flame on our creature. All right, fair enough. E2 Lava Runner now a 2/2. These things are entirely reasonable as far as we're concerned. All right, Impassioned Orator, come on down. You got it. Do you have another removal spell you intend to point at our Impassioned Orator? Of course you do. That is 3 damage that does not go to our face, though, notably. And these Viashino Pyromancers will not be able to be both cast, obviously. Opponent lights up the stage again. Doesn't have a mana for them. All right. Okay. I think we're actually just going to take the damage here. All these removal spells here from our opponent, not great for sure, but I really don't want to just run our creatures out for actual no value either. So, all right, let's go ahead, get all of these fellows down. We don't have the mana to activate Alseid of Life's Bounty, of course. All right, so the opponent goes to do the thing. We're going to save Healer's Hawk. Opponent going to respond by killing Healer's Hawk, I expect. No, wants to get rid... Oh, it does, okay. For a minute, it looked like it was targeting the Alseid of Life's Bounty. Okay, the opponent just going to come in and make us take a couple. All right, well, Angel Vitality, come on in. Yep. We're going to go ahead and gain 2 from that attack. Opponent has the Lightning Strike. It goes at our Angel. Sure, not a surprise here. No, we do not draw a land. All right, fine. But we do have Daxos, Blessed by the Sun, and Leonin Vanguard. These things are good as far as we're concerned. We're going to go ahead and bring our life total back up above what it was before the opponent attacked us down. Now at 12 life. Opponent, Burning Tree Emissary. Also looking for land, doesn't appear to find it. Does get Flame of Keld, going to discard the hand. Pass the turn. Sure. Oh boy, folks, that was a great draw. That land finally coming in. Opponent has some decisions to make here. We're going to go ahead and get in with both of these folks. Opponent does decide to trade with Leonin Vanguard. Not surprised by that. But it does gain us another life. So now Gideon's Company, a 9/9. Opponent going to draw 2 cards. Next turn's the big turn. For red source you control would deal damage. It deals that much +2 instead. Haha. All right. We are just going to go ahead and get down another Gideon's Company. Life going to be gained. Counters go on. And we get to get in for a relatively free attack here. The opponent's got to block the Gideon's Company, of course, and just chump. Otherwise they die. So we deal 3 damage to the opponent's face. We go up to 17. 2 counters go on each of the Gideon's Companies, and the opponent is set for their big turn. Can they do 17 damage with only 2 cards in hand? I seriously doubt it. 1 mana. And the opponent scoops it up. Hey, GG, folks. Well, I would say, for the record, that I think Mono Red is going to be one of our better matchups most of the time, but their list, very, very finely tuned and wielding very, very powerful cards. Wouldn't be surprised if we dropped some games to it. But, folks, we didn't drop this one. So, GG, opponent, GG. Alright, folks, here we are on the draw against Let Me Leo. This is not a great hand. These Skyclave Clerics are basically just half a land, is the reason they're in here. Seeing some number isn't bad, but having 4 or 3 in your starting hand is really not great. We would love to see 3 of anything else. Oh, hey, okay. Well, this is one of the matchups where they're not so bad. Because we do want to be able to block. Typically against the mono red deck. And these are relatively good blockers. So, an untapped land wouldn't be bad. We actually wouldn't mind casting these. Opponent gets in with our G2 Lava Runner and lights up the stage. Going to cast another G2 Lava Runner. Oh boy, okay, here we go. Yes, we are actually going to go with casting a Skyclave Cleric rather than getting down Ajani's Pridemate here, because we're relatively certain they have some amount of interaction. And we 100% want to jump in front of these G2 Lava Runners, and the Skyclave Cleric gives us the perfect opportunity to do that thing, right? Oh boy, they're going to spend all their mana. Okay, no, this is wonderful. We are very, very pleased by this. Yes. All right, yeah, I mean, 100%. Just gonna do the bounce off of one another thing and move on with our life. We're going to, I guess, now Ajani's Pridemate, and I think we are going to go ahead and get one of these fellows in just to make it so we are able to continue hitting our land drops, we will want to get down to Gideon's Company at some point. And now an untapped land will let us cast both Daxos and another Skyclave Cleric in the same turn, which would be wonderful. Otherwise, if we're not drawing a land, we're drawing more action, which is good, right? We would be pretty happy about that. Escape Velocity coming on down. All right, and Escape Velocity on the G2 Lava Runner as well. All right, the two creatures come in. We're going to snap off a trade with Viashino Pyromancer, not even going to give it a second thought, take 3 damage from G2 Lava Runner. Well, as it turns out, it is not an untapped land. It's an Angel of Vitality, which we are still okay with. Not going to put our Ajani's Pridemate in danger here. Our life total is just not being threatened here. Our opponent's got 1 card in hand. The Escape Velocity can come back out of the bin, which we're not thrilled about, but we will absolutely jam Daxos in front of whoever puts that Escape Velocity on top of itself. Sure. It happens. Still 2 cards left in the bin, so this Escape Velocity will be able to return. Yep. And we will block. 100%, opponent. We will not even blink about this. Yes. 100%. Alright, Summit Sprint. Okay, not going to trade. Just going to kill our Daxos Blessed by the Sun, but that's okay. We did not want to get got by that. Oh boy, that's a good one. That's a good one indeed. Alright, so let's see. Alright, let's actually just get down Angel of Vitality. We know that we're going to actually gain extra life this turn. So I think these things are fine. Alright, you got it? We dropped to 12. 1 card in hand, not likely to do 12 damage, folks. Alright, so Angel Vitality, come on down. And then we're going to gain 2 life, which is actually 4 life, which is going to put a counter on Ajani's Pridemate. And Leonin Vanguard going to gain 1 life, which is actually going to be 3 life, putting another counter on. We're just going to go ahead and turn our creature sideways this time. It's a race, opponent. You're at 9. We're at 19. And we're going to pass the turn. We will absolutely take 6 more damage, folks. This does not scare us. We can do this all day. Yeah. Alright, opponent getting in for 3 damage. We're 100% going to take it. Nope. Deal your damages. Is this a... it is not an Embercleave. I mean, an Embercleave would have been inconvenient, but to be flatly honest, we're still not even scared of an Embercleave, right? Ah, yes. Alright, so let's start with this one. And then this one. And the opponent's just like, yeah, we're done. Yeah, folks, we got there. Like I say, I think our matchup against Mono Red is going to be pretty good in general, so feels good, man. Still able to get the win, and I like that. So, GG, opponent, GG. All right, folks, welcome back. We had a great time. We did really well. The deck performed as very admirably. We ate up the mono red decks. We even got some soul tie and stuff. Got beat up in a couple of matchups. But honestly, I think in its current this current version, you are a little bit worse off than if you were to get even just a couple of upgrades. So we're back. We're going to talk about some of those upgrades. But even this version, I would feel pretty comfortable with. I felt pretty comfortable with it in Mythic here. So I wouldn't shy away from building it this way. But if you've got some of the cards here we're going to be talking about in the sideboard, I would definitely include those. So what are they? Well, Authority of the Console specifically, very, very good against the Neoform combo, where they go and search through their deck and jam a bunch of creatures onto the battlefield. They all enter tapped, right? It's also notable that it's good against goblins, where the opponent just gets 25 million goblins and gonna swing an attack and kill you in one turn. Nope. Creatures on the battlefield tapped under your opponent's control. It also really, you know, it can make it so your opponent has a harder time getting blockers. So when we're being aggressive, it can be good. It also does gain you life just passively over time, and that is kind of what this deck is trying to do anyway. So a reasonable inclusion, as is Giant Killer, if you're facing a lot of mid-rangey stuff or just have a sideboard. It's a good card to be there. That said, I'm going to talk quite a bit about this card, and I can't say enough about these cards. You have 30 or more life. Serra Ascendant gets +5/+5 and has flying. It's a 1/1 lifelink for 1. Darn it. That's just, it can replace a whole bunch of the cards in our deck right now, and it's just strictly better in a lot of ways. I think you're incorrect to not build it if you have some of these in your collection. Similarly, Speaker of Heavens, a 1/1 lifelink Vigilance, can make 4/4s if we get to 27 life. So darn it, just reach your hand into the proverbial bag, pull some cards out to include these. Very, very good. They just make the deck better. I don't think I even have to defend why. Very strong. Notably, I do think these cards will be some of the cards you pull out in favor of these payoffs. And then probably maybe the Skyclave Clerics, and maybe shave some of the Selfless Saviors and Alseid the Life's Bounty to get some of these style cards in. But then the next one, Dawn of Hope, I think is at least good if you have a sideboard, if you're playing best 3. But also, I could see it as a 1-of in the main. Whenever you gain life, pay 2, you can draw a card, or just create a bunch of dudes. Very nice. Very, very nice card, and the art is amazing. That said, okay, folks, we made it. These are the most important upgrades for the entire deck. These are the ones. If you are targeting cards, the easiest place to look is like 3 Linden. I don't know that you want the 4th Linden, but you want all 4 Heliod as soon as possible. And just strip these cards out right here. These are the ones. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. So you can throw counters on anybody. When Soul Warden is on the battlefield, this gets out of hand. Absolutely out of hand. And I can't recommend it enough. And Linden plays so well with it. Whenever a white creature you control attacks, gain 1 life. So if you have like 3 creatures on the battlefield, and you know, Linden and 2 other creatures or something, you slam a Heliod, you attack with all 3 creatures, you get 3 separate life gain triggers, gain a life, Heliod's then going to put a counter somewhere, gain a life, Heliod's going to put a counter somewhere, gain a life, Heliod's going to put a counter somewhere, and you're just attacking with a massive army from nothing, right? You know, we're talking like, I don't know, a Soul Warden, a Leonin Vanguard, and a Linden is now a massive army of attacking creatures, and it just gets out of hand so quickly. So if you have a couple of wild cards laying around, you're like, yeah, I want to play some of this life gain stuff, these are the ones I would do. These are the better payoffs. This one also being indestructible means it's a lot harder to get rid of. You may have seen some of our games where the opponent's just like, okay, kill your thing, and then we're in a hard spot. Heliod helps prevent that. So these are definitely the cards you want for sure. Even above the Speaker of Heavens and Serra Ascendant, I think Heliod and at least 1 or 2 Linden, and then you might go towards these ones. But very, very, very powerful magic cards. All right, Resplendent Angel, you may just have laying around. If you do, it's good and would be better than some of these payoffs. I don't know that I would necessarily be crafting it unless you were maybe doing a more angel-heavy build, but darn it, can be in here and is a strong card. Ajani, Strength of Pride. I think the end version of this deck should include some of these, at least something like 2 of them, because it creates Ajani's Pridemates. Just the -2, make an Ajani Pridemate, like that. It comes out with 4 or 5 loyalties, so you can make an Ajani's Pridemate this turn. As long as they don't remove it, make another Ajani's Pridemate next turn, start plussing. If that's the entire board, darn it, you're still in really good shape, right? So doing exactly what this thing wants. Ranger of Eos similarly goes to find 1 mana cost creatures. So all of these things being targets for Ranger of Eos, very, very good. So maybe at least a 1-of or something like that later on, maybe even a 2-of. Could be Marius Call, basically free. Castle Ardenvale pumps out 1/1s, and we have a million planes. It's basically a free include as at least a 1 or a 2-of. I think I would still go with 4-of. You might pull the Radiant Fountain just to make sure you have the planes, but it's basically free. So I like it. And last but not least, Animal Sanctuary is kind of cute here. It likely might not be the correct land, but it's really kind of a nice little value engine. Put a 1/1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Okay. Dog. Cat. Bird. Cat. You know, like a solid half of our creatures or something are fit in here. And darn it, it's a pretty affordable rate to be growing your team, especially the Healer's Hawk becoming a 2/2 is very strong. Becoming a 3/3 is like, holy crud, watch out. And suddenly this is getting out of hand in a hurry. As is the Leonin Vanguard, just it gets bigger on its own as well. So it's actually kind of cute. And if you've just got some laying around because maybe you had some from M21, it might be worth maybe a 1 of or even possibly a 2 of just because you have them. That said, folks, I really appreciate everybody who tuned in. I do have a Twitch channel. You should check it out. Links in the description. I stream 5 nights a week, so it'd be great to have you. That said, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody who watches these budget videos. I'm really trying to help people. I know every one of these budget videos doesn't necessarily appeal to everybody, but I'm really trying. So let me know. Give me some feedback if you don't like it or if you do like it or things I might do different. But either way, I appreciate you watching it. And you folks, have a wonderful night.